Will a robot take my job? It's a question that feels so now, right? So 21st century. But what if I told you that this is actually one of the oldest fears of the modern age? Let's dig into this fascinating history.
Okay, get this. This is Queen Elizabeth I, way back in 1589. She's refusing to give a patent to a guy who invented a new knitting machine. And it's not because the machine was no good, nope. It's because she was genuinely terrified it would put her people out of work and turn them into, and I'm quoting here, biggers. So yeah, this whole anxiety we have, it's literally over 400 years old.
And this wasn't just some one-off thing. It's a pattern that shows up again and again with every new wave of technology.
Let's just trace this pattern, right? In the 1810s, you've got the Luddites. These were skilled artisans, and they were literally smashing the new looms. Then you jump to the 1930s, in the middle of the Great Depression, and what are people blaming for mass unemployment? Machines. Fast forward again to the 1960s, and there's a full-blown automation panic that leads to a presidential commission. And, well, here we are today. The AI revolution has brought this exact same debate roaring back to life.
So if we really want to understand where we're headed, we've got to look back. And the first huge test case for this whole thing was, of course, the Industrial Revolution.
Now, the first people to really feel the heat, it wasn't the unskilled laborers. It was the absolute pros, the highly skilled artisans. I mean, think about hand loom weavers. These guys were like the coders or the graphic designers of their time, masters of a really complex and well-paid craft.
Okay, this number, it's brutal. It tells a really painful story. What you're looking at is a nearly 60% collapse in a weaver's family's weekly wages. And get this, it happened in just 6 years. I mean, just imagine your salary getting cut by more than half, practically overnight. That was the reality for some of the most skilled people around.
But here's the twist, and this is so important. While those old skills were being totally devalued, technology was creating a brand new kind of work. They call it mass expertise. Now, this wasn't about being a master craftsman anymore. It was about learning to use specific tools and follow a set of rules, in the new factories and offices. And that became the engine of the industrial economy for over a century.
All right, let's jump forward about a century to the next massive disruption, the computer revolution.
To get what computers did, you really have to understand one key idea: routine tasks. And these are just what they sound like. Jobs that are repetitive, whether you're doing them with your hands or with your brain. Anything that can be broken down into a tight script or a set of rules. Think assembly lines, bookkeeping, you name it.
So what were computers basically designed to do? Well, exactly that. Those routine tasks. They didn't just come in and destroy all the jobs, but what they did was start to systematically hollow out the middle of the job market. A lot of those stable, middle-class jobs in production, in administration, the very heart of that mass expertise we talked about, they just got automated away.
Now this graph, this is fascinating. It shows something really important about how dynamic our economy is. This line here, it represents job reallocation. Basically, how fast new jobs are created to replace old ones. And just look at that downward trend. It starts right in the 1980s, which is exactly when computers really started taking over. So what does that tell us? It tells us our economy actually got slower at creating new roles. Kind of counterintuitive, right?
So if all those routine, middle-skilled jobs were on the decline, what kind of work was booming? Well, this is where we see the rise of something called elite expertise. And this isn't about following rules. This is about using deep, expert knowledge and hard-won judgment to make big, high-stakes decisions when there's no playbook. We're talking about doctors, top lawyers, senior executives.
And that brings us right up to today. Because, let me be clear, AI is not just a faster computer. It is a fundamentally different kind of beast. This slide right here, this is the whole ballgame. On one side, you have computers, their superpower, calculation, and logic. Their target, those routine tasks. But then you have generative AI. Its superpower is totally different. It's pattern recognition and generation. And its target, well, it's those non-routine, cognitive tasks, the very things that were supposed to be the safe harbor for human experts.
And what does that actually look like in the real world? It means AI can now pass the bar exam. It can write really useful, complex software. It can communicate fluently in tons of languages. It's not just regurgitating stuff. It's generating novel text, images, and data. It's even helping us make new scientific discoveries. I mean, these are the exact tasks that, until like 5 minutes ago, we thought defined elite expertise.
So, if AI can do all that, what on earth does that mean for the future of work? Well, This incredible new power really points us toward three very, very different potential futures.
Okay, scenario number 1. This one might feel a little familiar. It's basically our recent past, but, on steroids. They call it the Great Polarization 2.0.
So in this future, the value of that top-tier, elite expertise just keeps going up and up. Meanwhile, AI gets better and better at automating even more white-collar, college-level jobs. And the result? The gap between the top earners and everyone else gets even wider. More and more people get pushed into lower-paying service jobs.
Then there's scenario 2. And this one is more radical. And to be honest, it's pretty dystopian. It's called the elimination of expertise.
A Nobel Prize-winning economist, Wassily Lantief, put this in some pretty stark terms. He said, look, just like tractors made horses completely obsolete as a source of labor, AI could do the same thing to us, to humans. The scary logic here isn't that there's no work left to do, it's that machines can just do it all better and cheaper.
But what if there's a third way, a much more optimistic path? And this one is called the reinstatement of mass expertise. This graph right here is the key to this whole optimistic idea. Take a look at this bell curve. What it shows is that AI's ability to boost someone's performance, it isn't actually greatest for the total beginners over here on the left or for the superstar experts on the right. No, the biggest gains are for the skilled, competent workers right in the middle. The idea is that AI doesn't replace the worker, it becomes their co-pilot, basically leveling them up and making them more like an expert.
So which one is it going to be? Polarization, elimination, or reinstatement? Well, the most important thing to remember is this: technology is not destiny.
The outcome isn't going to be decided by the code alone. A huge report from the National Academies of Sciences says it perfectly. Our future path depends on social, institutional, and political choices. It is not technologically determined. We get to choose. Ultimately, when you think about it, AI is just a tool. It's like a mirror, reflecting this enormous library of human knowledge and experience that we've built up over centuries. It's learning from us. So the real question isn't, what will AI do to us? The real question is, what should we teach it?